Hey guys, Destinygundum, and today we're going to be taking a very cool look at a KO this time. This is going to be KO Figma Inori Yuzuriha from the anime Guilty Crown. Now, I know I haven't been making a lot of videos recently, and that's a big problem because my camera's been kind of crappy, and then, yeah, so that's why I can't do anything. But still, I'm going to give it a go, and hopefully this video will turn out good. So, first off, the reason why I make KO videos is because for those people who kind of roam around eBay, there's obviously a lot of KOs and they're at a cheaper price point as opposed to a real one. This retail would be around like 40 to 50 to 60. I've seen it go as high as 90, but yeah, I'm just saying, like, you know, if you're just a fan of Guilty Crown and you really like Inori and you don't really like the aesthetic of the Nendroid, but you really want like a figure of her, maybe go for this one, or maybe a prize figure. But as for this particular figure, the KO version, the reason why it's KO is because you can tell it's from China, and they use stock photos instead of actual like photos like taken from their own camera. So let's just dive right into this review. So first off, quality-wise, it was actually pretty okay. It wasn't fantastic. It was just okay. And then so basically, let's just go ahead and check out the figure. So here is Figma Inori. Now, some things right off the bat that really just kind of bothered me, and I actually laughed a lot over this figure because it's quite an interesting figure. At first, I kind of thought her legs were way too long, and that did kind of bother me because, like, whenever I would pose her, it looked kind of awkward with her really long legs. But apparently, that is accurate to the original version, so this is just accurate throughout all Inori Figmas, regardless of whether it's done by Good Smile or by a Chinese company. Yeah, but basically it's still alright. In certain poses you can make it look fine, but yeah. So first off the bat, starting from the bottom, there is a little cut in her little rubber sections on her heel, on her shoes. Other than that, this whole feet area is fine. The paintwork is really nice. Yeah. So moving up, there is this really weird glossy part right here. It just looks like they just might have missed it when they spray paint or they top coated it or something. Not 100% sure. Other than that, all these lines are pretty well done, pretty well colored in, nothing really phasing out. Now on the back here, there's actually some weird paint muck-ups, or just like not applying enough paint, where there's like some portions where it's white instead of this black color. Yeah, so that was the only issue with the legs. They were a little loose, so I put a little super glue in them and just tightened them up a little bit. Same with these dress portions, which really bothered me a lot. So these dress portions, they were actually really loose. This peg right here was loose. These pegs are still loose, even though I put a lot of super glue into them and tried to tighten them up. Because they are articulated, the angle of the peg is a little awkward, so it's like gravity will always pull it down, so it's kind of sketchy to play around with. But those just peg onto her hips. And also, while I'm on the topic, I think these star pieces are a bit thick. They don't look very fabric-like. They look very clay-like, which is kind of wacky. I'm pretty sure that's the same thing with the normal version too. So it's not just a KO problem. And then yeah, also when I got the figure, her arms were on backwards, and then I actually had to look through several reviews to figure out that this is the way it's supposed to be. Oh, shoot. See? That's what I'm talking about. These things flopping around. But they just go back in really easily, so no need to worry. Super glue will fix most of the stuff on her. So basically, these sections were switched, so that was kind of weird. And then the joint was like popping out, but you can rotate the joint to give it more articulation, or give her more articulation. So it goes beyond the normal 90, but you will want to rotate it back when you're just putting her on display because it'll look a little awkward. And then, yeah, another big thing, these fingers. These are really wacky fingers. There is definitely a sense that they did not fill out that mold very well, and they just, because they're very spindly and they don't look very clean, or they don't look very meaty, like as opposed to the rest of her body, which is like, you know, so it's kind of out of proportion. Unfortunately, this one is really wacky. Like there's just not a whole lot of space, or there's just too much space in between the fingers, and it's really kind of creepy looking. Other than that, it's pretty good. The chest section in here is all okay. The head, it's pretty okay. The biggest thing was this hairpiece. Now, this hairpiece, it actually came in this weird translucent purple instead of like pink. So I actually mixed up a color just to fix it, and I will be going back and fixing more of it, but it just bothered me so much that I really need to fix it. Let me see if I can go ahead and show you guys what the original hair, which the original color was. See this peg? I don't know how hard it is to see, but it was that color, the color of the peg, and it was really weird looking, and it really just bothered me so much, so I immediately mixed up Inori's hair color, and I think it turned out pretty alright. So, moving on. For articulation, her head, all the joints are pretty good. They're not stiff, they're not loose, except for these hip ones, but those can be fixed. The head can go up and down and rotate 360, but the thing that kind of bothers me is her pigtails are just kind of hanging out there, and they're not very accustomed to gravity, I guess, and they look kind of awkward in some poses. And then also, like, something is off about the proportion of her body. Like I said about the leg thing, maybe it's just her legs are really long, so it makes the rest of her body look kind of small. But I'm still kind of figuring out like what's going on here. Maybe it's something I can fix, but who knows. So head can do the normal head stuff. Arms, there's a ball joint and inside the chest, and there is a universal joint so it's a ball and universal joint, so she can wave and stuff. Elbow is like normal Figma joint. Hand, they all have a hinge and they all rotate, which is just fantastic. And then torso, up here in the chest area, there is a double ball joint, so you can go ahead and get her to do plenty of poses. Some areas will look kind of wacky like that, but yeah, hips, there are ball joints, so you can go ahead and lift the leg up that high and move it back about that far. Knees are one single jointed, but they do bend really nicely, and as for the feet, they are just on standard ball joints. So pretty nice articulation overall, and I did enjoy playing around with this with Inori. Okay, so moving on to the accessories. So of course she comes with funnel. Funnel here has 4 Figma joints at the base, which allow all these little arm leg things to move. There's also a rotational joint up here. Paintwork on funnel, it's very glossy, kind of classic KO kind of thing going on. And then yeah, other than that, it's pretty alright. Mold work is kind of so it's alright. Here is the funnel from the Nendroid. Now, what's kind of bothered me is the Nendroid can open up its head to reveal the genome, but this one can't really open up anything. I thought it'd be cool just to have that little feature, because, like, you know, it's a cool way to reenact that scene from the anime. But other than that, he also comes with these arm pieces. Now, what's real wacky is I think these arms are on backwards. Like, the hands, like, I have no clue, because I saw reviews of Figma Inori, and it seemed like the Good Smile version, it seemed like they're supposed to be like that, but they just look really out of whack. Yeah, it's kind of, I feel like I have 2 of the same arm, if you see right there, but yeah, it's just a kind of a cool thing to include, just have funnel with his arms. So there's funnel. And then next up you got her rack of hands. Now, as for hands, you have the holding hands, which are pretty alright. One of them, the peg was kind of not thick enough, so I actually had to thicken that up. Not holding hands, these are fisted hands. And then there's her holding hands for Figma stuff, like you can put saber in there. And then these are little, like, kind of not like palm hands. One of them is kind of wacky, the other one is just fine. All the paintwork on these hands are pretty alright. There are some areas that kind of throw you off because the orange goes over some parts, and it kind of makes it look like the fingers are just too tiny. But yeah, that should be fine. This one is real wacky. Like, it's just the whole palm is just way too small. And then there is special holding hands for guns. So she does come with her little guns that she had in the anime. These go on just fine. All the hands go on just fine except for the one that I mentioned that I had to thicken the peg. And they all have that joint, which is just fantastic. So you can go ahead and do plenty of poses with that. The guns themselves are really not good. They're very blocky looking, and they don't exactly scream quality. But then again, it's a KO. You know, what are you gonna do for it? It's pretty good for what you get. And of course, I don't really display her with the guns because the guns are really weird looking. And then, of course, she does come with her little robe piece, which you can drape over her. And then she does look pretty nice with it. That's usually how I display her. Of course, I put her in a dynamic pose as opposed to just standing there. But yeah, she looks really nice from really any angle. The thing I was worried about the most was the shading on the parts of the dress where it's orange and then goes to a lighter orange, especially these decals. I was kind of worried they get all messed up, but they actually turned out pretty good. So there's that. And then finally you have her alternate expressions. So she has 3 different expressions. She has her standard looking face, which something definitely is off about this face, I just have no clue. Then she has her sleeping face, or her peaceful face. Then she has her screaming or singing face, which is most likely the latter. So in order to swap them out, just pretty standard Figma stuff, you can swap them out. And then there you have Inori with her sleeping or peaceful face, which looks pretty nice. It kind of makes me wish we had a Inori shoe, so then they could kind of pose together, and he could have the sword and stuff. So yeah, it's all right, you know. Looks good, A+, or B-. Yeah, so getting that off. Next you have her standard face, which definitely something is off about this face. I just can't put my finger on it. It kind of creeps me out sometimes, so I don't put it on all the time. But yeah, just something about it. It's either kind of glossy or just her lips are not very big, or I just have no clue. It's kind of creepy, but yeah, it's fine from a distance, but when you kind of close up to it, it gives her this kind of weird look. So there's Inori with her multiple faces, and here's her singing face up close. Like I said before, my camera can't really focus all that well. So you're getting kind of the crappy version of the quality of the face. So yeah, and of course she comes with her standard Figma display base. Now, she does sort of stand okay on her own, but of course the Figma display base always makes things better. It has multiple joints. This display base is 100% fine. It's pretty much the same as the regular one. And yeah. So ultimately, it comes down to this. How much should you pay for this KO? So definitely don't pay over $20 for this girl, because I got mine for actually like $10 because the person refunded me because I said that like the quality didn't really exactly match up, and they're just really like, please, like, you know, we'll give you a refund. But yeah, basically, so yeah, I got mine for a bargain, so I can't really argue about quality that much. But if you get it for under 10 and it's really crappy quality, just put some work into it. It'll look great on your shelf. Yeah, other than that, it's fine. Have fun, and definitely be careful and watch out for these KOs. So I'll see you guys next time.